Hey guys,
Hello.
it's Amy and Robert here. Today we are continuing our discussion of our journey to donate our unused embryos. If you saw our last video, I discussed how we have 3 unused embryos after doing IVF to have our daughter and our son. And now we have decided that we are going to look into and hopefully start pursuing an open embryo donation. So since my last video, I have joined a couple different Facebook embryo donation / adoption Facebook groups, and those have been really helpful, mostly because people were discussing things in there that I realized there were so many things I didn't even think of, so many things I didn't know that I didn't know. And this is actually something that we're kind of going to be discussing for the first time too.
I didn't know you didn't know that.
What? So yeah, I have a list here of things that you really should be talking about and things to consider when you go and choose who you want to possibly donate your embryos to. There's so many things that I was reading these groups like, I would have never thought of that. I would have never thought of that. I would have never thought of that. So let's just jump right into it. What kind of a family structure do you want? Are you just looking for your traditional straight married couple? Are you okay with a gay couple? Are you okay with a single mom? There are a lot of all of these different types of family structures who are looking to receive embryos. So you really should probably figure that out before you start your search. Another thing that I really didn't consider too much about until I joined these groups is it important if, or not important, if they already have kids? Is that something that would make a difference to you if they had kids prior to trying to receive more embryos?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I think that'd be great. That way there's kids to play with the kids.
Well, something that could be a concern that people could think about or worry about is that, especially if they have their own biological children and then they wanted to adopt embryos, would they feel the same way about your biological children that they'd be adopting?
I would hope so.
Or would they favor their own biological children? You would think, hopefully not. Hopefully, usually, the recipients are really wanting to grow their family. And if they weren't, then they wouldn't be doing this. But so you just kind of would give them, I guess, the benefit of the doubt. But that is something to keep in mind.
Yeah, they wouldn't be paying all this money to get the embryos if that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest though, I kind of like the idea of donating to a couple that doesn't have children. Like, this is their only way they can have children. That really resonates with me. So
yeah, that's important.
Something that's really important for us in particular is their location. We want to be able to
have them as far away as possible. No, okay,
not
just
even
kidding.
close.
Yeah.
It's also really important for us to be able to have that open relationship so that their kids and our kids could foster a relationship between themselves. And so geography is going to be a big part of that. If we live in California and they're on the East Coast, how is that going to be, good for the kids? They're not going to know them that well. So we live in Southern California, so I think probably the state of California, preferably Southern California, would be like the biggest.
Or the Central Coast.
Yes, Southern Central-ish area, maybe out to Vegas, maybe Arizona. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll have to see. But
nothing wrong with Arizona. We like it, but
it's a little far away. Yeah. But anyway, for us, it's kind of like the closer the better. The next thing to consider, which is another thing I did not think about at all, is how many embryos do they want to adopt? Now, if you have a whole bunch of embryos, chances are you're going to have to split them up between families, but we only have 3. So I really don't want to have to find multiple families, and I don't want that. I would really like, if there's 3 babies to be born from these embryos, I would really like them to be from the same house, going to the same household.
Yeah.
But you have to have that conversation with the potential recipients. You have to say, I mean, would you be okay with having 3 children? Because then what happens if they only want 2 kids and then they have the 3rd embryo? Then what do they do with that?
Then there aren't, in our situation, several years later.
Yeah, and then people plan ahead for that apparently, and they put in their contract, like, you'll give the embryos back to us if you don't want them. But I don't want to be dealing with that either.
No.
So
once I give them away, I don't want them back.
Yeah, and I don't want to have to like worry about them giving them to somebody else. So I would be like wanting to find somebody who was okay if they had 3 children, period, end of story. Another thing that some people are really passionate about, but we really aren't too much, are things like beliefs, religious beliefs, political beliefs.
Not that we're against that. It's just...
We're not strong in either of those things. We don't have like super strong views.
Don't hate us for that.
But I've seen some donor profiles who, say, we're very conservative or we're very liberal and, we really want to find like-minded people. We're somewhere in the middle, so that's not going to be a huge thing for us. Okay, then there are random additional deal breakers, such as, I've seen this, that's again something I wouldn't think about.
Can't wait to hear it.
Some donors are adamant that their recipients are big on getting vaccines. I've seen some people who say that they don't want the recipients engaged in risky behaviors or risky jobs. I've seen people say that in their contracts they want
skydivers.
Yeah, they don't want any of that stuff. There's a lot of very specific
tightrope artists.
A lot of specific deal breakers that people have, that they want to make sure that they find people who are okay with that, who are on the same page with that, and who are probably willing to add that stuff to their contract.
Sword swallowers is another risky one.
Yeah. I can't think of anything in particular that I think we'd be really strict about, so I'm not too worried about that one. Something that I do think is important for every single person who's donating or receiving embryos is you really need to be on the same page when it comes to the level of openness. I mean, there's no one size fits all. Open is not, a hard and fast definition. It's defined by what each party thinks, is open and what works for them. I guess there's also the term semi-open. I really don't know specifically like how they differentiate between the two. I know that I've heard of some people...
Slightly cracked.
Yeah, I guess. I've heard of some people who have like a very cousin type of relationship where they see each other like quite a bit, holidays, even have play dates, things like that. And then there are other people who are basically more like pen pals. I would be leaning more towards a cousin relationship, but at this point, I don't feel like I would need to be like all up in their business. Like, I don't think I'd want to...
So you're not going to check in with them every day?
No, I'm just, but I'm not that kind of a person anyway. Like, I like stay focused on my life. Like, I don't keep in like constant communication with people. Like, it's hard for me to just be texting all the time or calling, or I'm not that kind of a person. So it wouldn't be, I would probably want somebody who wasn't expecting us to be like in communication all the time. I don't think anybody really would be. But
once a month?
I think it almost has to just come kind of naturally at the same time. Like, I don't necessarily think that's something you can say, okay, we're going to chat on the first Thursday of every month for 42 minutes. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's other family members I don't even talk to for at least once or twice a year.
Yeah, I have plenty of friends that I love, but
some I don't even want to talk to that
don't talk to you that much, or it's like you just get busy with your lives. So I definitely want to have somebody who is cool with us being friends, definitely friends, but not any expectations of like all of this like time spent together, because I just honestly can't even do that. Okay, so those are the main things you want to think about when choosing your recipients, or even if you're on the other side of things, you would need to consider these things as well. Some other things just in general about donating embryos is, I think the first step of when we actually really, like the first step we make, I think it needs to be based on everything I've been reading the past like month or so, on these forums and these groups is that I think you really should check with your facility where you have your embryos stored and kind of ask what their policies are, because I've seen that different clinics have different policies. Some of them allow things that others don't. Some charge more for not their patients' embryos to be transferred into them, which I think is ridiculous. But so I think the first thing we have to do is get in touch with the people from our clinic and just be like, hey, this is what we want to do. How does that work? How do you guys handle that? And what are the steps we need to take? And
have we done that?
I haven't done that yet.
Good job.
That will be the
Way
first
to be on
thing.
top of that.
Yeah, we're still getting there.
Yeah.
That will be the first thing that we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Also, you should really decide if you want to use an agency or not. I thought that, you know, that kind of goes without saying, but I'm definitely leaning towards like a private arrangement, independent situation. I don't want to go through an agency. I know it can be easier that way. They help walk you through things, and you know, you don't have to try to navigate this all on your own. There's downsides, of course. I want to be able to pick who I want to pick, and a lot of the times you don't have like that full control, and I don't care about someone matching for me. I'll wait until I find the right recipients. But the one thing that is like, you know, that you really need to worry about is the legal aspect. There's got to be a contract drawn up, and it's like, well, that's you know, the legal aspect is always like the most complicated. So it's like, how are you going to navigate that? And I have seen on these Facebook groups that there's this group called, oh, I wish I remembered, NFRA maybe? I don't even know what it stands for, but I just know it's a very, very popular website for donors and recipients to meet matches. And I think that there's some kind of a service that they can provide to help you figure out your contract and things like that. So,
NFRA.
Yeah, something
National
like that.
Fertility Registration Association.
I don't know.
I don't know. Registry Association. Who knows?
I don't know what it is, but
sounds interesting.
yeah, I should have memorized. I haven't even looked on the website yet. I've seen it so many times. I haven't even gone on because I'm very like, I want to be very methodical about this. I want to be like the first thing,
What if
then
they're
the next
connected
thing.
to the NRA? Like
Oh,
embryos
dear.
and guns.
No, I don't
know.
think so. Wow,
Huh.
the dad jokes really
I don't
are on
know.
fire. So that's another good resource that we should probably utilize if we're going to go about this all on our own too. I'll have to check that out. But so I guess this is like
That's
us.
it.
I guess this is us saying that like we've gathered the knowledge, we've gathered the information. I've done the homework, the due diligence, if you will, as much as I think I can do at this point. And now it's time to just really like just dive in and just get going with it.
Put all the puzzle pieces together and
Yeah.
build the puzzle.
Or else we'll be just dragging our feet for all of eternity.
Yeah.
So the first step will be
And pay
contact.
another year of our embryo storage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we might end up having to do that depending on how fast we
Exciting.
match.
Can't wait.
But I'm gonna go ahead and one of these days, very very soon, when I just, it's almost gonna feel like it's just so like we're really doing it when I take this step to contact the clinic. So when I do, I will definitely be sure to make a video about that so I know how I'm gonna have to proceed, and I will keep you guys posted as our journey begins.
I'm sure they're looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. It's gonna be exciting. All right,
Cheers.
cheers.